So if you have your Chromebook out, you can follow along for the colors and quotes assignment. When you open your Chromebook, this is what you should see. Now again, I am going through this assignment. We are going to go through the code. Your code will not be exactly like mine, at least the coding part will be, but the entries that I put in are going to be very different because I am Mr. Sal, and you are not Mr. Sal. You are you. So when I say something like Mr. Sal on the assignment, you will know not to put Mr. Sal because that is not who you are. Also, while we're going through this assignment, some of you guys are like, you know what, Mr. Sal, I'm going to play video games because I don't give a crap. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad person if you don't give a crap about your grades or this assignment. All it means is that you don't give a crap. Now that is important so that when parents come to me or an administrator comes to me and says, Mr. Sal, what's going on with this student? I'll be like, they don't give a crap. And that's how it'll be, okay? So, follow along if you want. If you do follow along, by the time I finish, you will have the assignment finished, and you can submit it pretty much right away. But we come to this screen. This is your home screen here for the Chromebook. We're going to click here down on the bottom left, the Start button, which is going to open up the program. So there it is, right? I've circled it in red. I put arrows next to it in case you didn't know which button I was talking about. If you click on it, this is what you should see. Now this shouldn't be a surprise because the last two assignments we used the text program. If by chance you don't know where the text program is, I've circled it in a bright red color and put 5 arrows pointing to it. So if you're like, Mr. Sal, I still can't find it, next time I will put 6 or 7 arrows, but that is as far as I go, all right? Text program, it's the same one that we've been using. I found it, it's right there. You may not have exactly the same programs on your Chromebook, by the way, but these were on mine. There's the text program. I found it. I click on it, and it takes me to the text program. Unbelievable. What a surprise. Now, this is a text program, and the file that we have right now is a text file. But what we learned from the last two assignments is we do not want a text file. What we want is an HTML file. So we click on Save As, because we need to save this file as a .html file. Now, some of you found this before, but if you do not put the dot there, it's going to think you want whatever the name of the file is, HTML, but it still is going to be a text file. And if you do that, when you put in the coding, in here it's just going to be black, or if you have a black background, it'll be some other color, all right? So some of you found this, and that's okay. We can fix it. But if you don't put .html, this is a text file, and so even though you're putting in coding, it thinks you just want text. So I'm going to give you text, and that's what you've been seeing, okay? In addition to that, if you misspell HTML, and I know it's only 4 letters, but I make mistakes typing too, so don't worry about that. Just fix it. HTML. If you put HMTL, the program's going to be like, what the crap is that? I don't know what HMTL is. So make sure when you put this in, it's a .html. If you click on Save As, it's going to open up the Save window, the Save File window, Save File As window. And you can see I have named mine colors_quotes.html. I have changed the name. Some of you guys are like, I'm going to name it template again, or I'm going to name it lists again, which you could do, but if you already have a lists file in your files, in your Google Drive, then it would be kind of hard to tell. It would be very hard to tell which one you want to open. So this is another chance for me to emphasize, when you save it as a .html. I don't really care about colors and quotes. Again, you can name it whatever you want. I named mine colors and quotes because this assignment is colors and quotes. .html. Don't forget the dot. Make sure it's all 3 letters in a row, HTML. And it has to be, yeah, those 4 letters have to be correct. Once you get this named and you have .html, some students were also adding other stuff afterwards. They were like .html, other stuff. The program's going to be like, it's a text file. I don't know what the crap you want me to do. So make sure that's correct. After you get the name in there, then you'll just click on save. Once you click on save, it will close this window and it'll take us back to the text program. But you can see down here, it says, hey, this file that you're on is colors and quotes .html. So this again, you can just check again. It says .html. Thank you, program, for showing me. Now I know I'm looking at a .html file, okay? This is crucial because if you don't save this correct, it's just going to be a text file, and you guys are going to be like, what the crap is going on? And you won't be able to submit it in Canvas. It has to be .html for Canvas to accept it also. Well, what I need now, since I do have a HTML file, is some code. And when I put my code in, this is exactly how it looked. You notice this is a PowerPoint. But I didn't actually type anything in. I didn't show you that I was typing anything in. I don't expect you to type anything in. How did I get this code then? I did. I went back to my file, my template file, which, if you followed the instructions, you sent it to yourself in an email. I copied this stuff, and then I pasted it, and I was done. And that feels really good, because I got a lot of code there that I don't have to put in. If you still have to put this stuff in, that's okay. You can do it character by character, but you're more likely to make mistakes, which will happen, especially while we're getting used to this stuff. So, copy and paste. I have all my stuff here, and I'm ready to make my entries, starting with the title right here. But this is my base code. This is my template code. And this is the last assignment where we're doing coding in this class. That just saved me some time right there. Maybe not you, but it saved me some time. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is enter my title in the title element. Now, this is in the heading, and we should know what this does, and we're still going to look at it. As I go through this code for this assignment, this assignment has, I don't know if it has as many lines as the list assignment, but it's still quite a bit of coding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decompose it into smaller, more manageable parts, easier parts to work with. So if I do make a mistake, it will be very easy to find my mistake. All right? So I put in here Mr. Sal's favorite quotes. I love quotes. I love to look up quotes. I like to read, and I find quotes all the time, new ones. And you may think you like to find quotes too, like Mr. Sal's favorite quotes, and you would quote this in your title. But it should be your title, so please do not put Mr. Sal's favorite quotes. Put your own stinking favorite quotes. And by the way, you don't have to say favorite quotes. You could say your most interesting quotes, or the quotes that you like, something like that, okay? It doesn't have to be exactly this wording. Just we need something there to say something about quotes, because this is colors and quotes assignment. We're going to be putting in some quotes in here. Now, with this code, I have put in Mr. Sal's favorite quotes. I am ready to look at the web page right now, because like I said, I'm going to decompose this into smaller, hopefully more manageable parts, even though we're going to see a lot more code. I click on save, and what you'll notice is down here, the asterisk is removed. That indicates that a saving has occurred. If I didn't click on save right now, it didn't acknowledge that I put in this code to show the web page, all right? But since I have clicked save, the asterisk is gone. It says, I acknowledge that you have all this code and you have a title for the web page. So the asterisk disappears. Now I can go back and look at my web page. It's not going to have much, because all you see right here is that I have a title. I should be able to find this somewhere on my web page. So I click on my start button down here in the bottom left. I find my files program, which is going to open up my files in Google Drive. And this is what I saw. So I would like to open colors and quotes.html. So again, this is going to prove that I've shown .html. It looks good. It's got the dot and everything. And I double click on it. When I do double click on this, it's going to open up my web page. And when I see my web page, I'm going to feel really good inside, because I've done a lot of work on this. There it is. Now that may not be so astonishing, but it's something. In fact, some of you guys are like, Mr. Sal doesn't actually show anything. It shows. Remember, we changed the title, right? There it is. There's my title. Remember what it said, Mr. Sal's favorite quotes? I found it. So remember, you should have your name in there, something about quotes as well. So if I grade this and I see that your title's not there, I know to take points off, okay? So that's a start. If by chance this didn't show up, then the code would be something was wrong with the code, and then I would know to go back and fix something. But this looks good. So I can go back to my code, and I'm ready to continue with more code. So in my level 1 heading, we're going to enter a level 1 heading, which we've seen before. Remember, this is a level 1 heading, not a level 2, not a level 6, which is the highest. H6 is the highest one that we have, which is the smallest also. So I'm going to enter after H1. I'm going to enter some code for the background. This is the background. I need this in the body. This is pointing to H1. Let's fix this. There we go. We're going to put it after the body, okay? Because we're going to change the body of our web page, and we're going to give it some color. So we're going to use this code after H1. So you put some space after the Y. We're going to give it a style equals, and you need all this stuff, by the way. You need the quotation marks, background dash color, colon, and then you choose a color. We're going to show you how to do that, and then a semicolon, close quotations, and then you should have the close bracket right there. The semicolon is going to allow us to add more styles to the body if we want to later, and we will, by the way. But again, the style is important, and the spelling is important. I'm going to point this out right now, but not a lot of students, but some students in the past missed the G. Now that should say background as one word, but they misspelled it. It's just a typo. It's not like they did it on purpose. But if you miss the G, now it spells background. And just so you know, on your screens, the print here is very small. So if you've missed the G, that is hard to find. Even if you do this character by character. Like I said, we're going to decompose it, so it should be easier to find, but it's still very difficult to find. So don't miss the G right there. You need that G for background. Other students have, they miss the hyphen right there. You need that hyphen, otherwise it's thinking background color. What the crap is that? You have to have the hyphen in there too, so make sure you don't miss that. And another very common error is where students forget the final quotation marks over here. So if you miss the final quotation marks, it thinks you still are trying to style the body. Even if it continues down into the header, the level 1 header of the paragraph, and then finally we'll end the body though. So make sure you're careful with your typing. If you make a mistake, that's okay. It's just you're going to need to find your mistake. That's all. All right. So let's see if we can find some colors here. So this web page, the web address there can be found on Canvas. So you can access this web page through Canvas. I do have the web address up here, and you can look at it. Why do we need this? Because it's colors and quotes assignment. Colors. So this is where you're going to find the colors. And you can scroll through this web page. Up there. There we go. There's lots of colors. 140 colors for you to choose from. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. And of these 140 colors, 2 should not be used, but in specific instances, okay? So let me explain. When you put text onto your web page, it by default will be black. So don't make your text black, because otherwise it looks like you didn't do jack squat. And then I will think, if I see black text, oh, they didn't do anything. They didn't actually change the color, so I'm going to take points off. Or the background, as you've seen already, the background comes already white, as a white background. So if you make your background white, right here, then you're going to lose points, because I think that you did not actually change the color of your background. Now, that gives you 138 other colors to choose from for your background and for your text, all right? When you're choosing your colors as well, what you want to do is choose a background, whatever background you want, which is what we're going to start with. But then when you choose colors for your texts, choose colors that are going to contrast with the background. So the color that you're going to see that I choose is dark blue. Okay, dark blue is dark, as it turns out. So when I put colors for my letters, I'm going to want to choose brighter colors so that they will actually show up on the page. In the past, some students were like, I'm going to choose dark blue from my background, and then I'm going to choose dark blue from my text, and then it looks like it's an empty web page. And I don't know what to tell you at that point, but you lose a lot of points, though. You're going to need, I think it's 8 colors, but choose. And again, choose wisely so that as you put in the quotes for this assignment, they will actually show up against the background. So, here we go again. It's still showing, pointing to the wrong place there. Let's make a point to the body, right? We want it after the body. There we go. So we're going to enter this code after the body. And again, I chose dark blue for my background. So that's what I'm going to put into this blank. Boom, dark blue. Okay, this is my code. I have a background color dark blue for my body. I'm ready to check to see if this is going to work. So I would click on save, which again will get rid of the asterisk, which by the way, if you're not saving, it's not going to show up correct. So click on save. Now some of you, when you check your web page, like going through the files and then opening it that way is good, and it will open. But if you go back to the web page, which you've already opened, and just click on reload, it will load the new stuff. Now this is what happened when I loaded it. No dark blue. Dark blue is a very dark color. It's not white. So something didn't work. We have to find out where I jacked up the code. So we got to go back. And again, this would be a character by character analysis, trying to find where Mr. Sal jacked up the code. So here is the code again. However, I don't have to look at all the code. I just have to look at this line that I just put in. And I've got to find out where I've made a mistake. So we can kind of zoom in here and focus on just that line. I don't care about this stuff or this stuff. This stuff was working. We'll get to this stuff. Okay, open bracket, body, B-O-D-Y. That looks good. Style, S-T-Y-L-E. Oh, I spelled style as slee. And the program is like, what the crap is slee? I don't know what to give you here, Mr. Sal, but I'll still show it in the text. So there's the code. I have found where I made a mistake. The Y is missing. So I fixed it. I said S-T-Y-L-E. Everything else looks good. My equal sign, open quotation, background, hyphen color, colon, dark blue, semicolon, end quotation, close bracket. So in my body, this should work. So again, I would click on save to make sure that the asterisk goes away. I go back to my web page. I click on reload. I found it. There it is, my dark blue that I was hoping to see earlier. Now it is showing up because I typed it in correct. So the program, yeah, one letter off like I was. Yeah, it's enough to jack up your web page. So make sure you're being very careful about when you enter in your code. So going back to the code, the body's good. I've got a good background color, dark blue. For the rest of the stuff, even my level 1 heading, which I'm going to put in, I would like a lighter color, all right? Because I want a lighter color to contrast against the dark blue background. So I'm going to put in a level 1 header, something about Mr. Sal's and his favorite quotes or something like that. And we're going to enter a style for the level 1 header. Now, we want a color for our level 1 header. And we're going to use this code right here, okay? It's still style equals quote color. So again, it's not a background color, it's just a color, colon, and then you enter the color, semicolon, in case you want to enter more style for your level 1 header, close quote, and then after that you would have the close bracket. Okay, but your H1 is first. Give yourself a space there, otherwise it thinks you're trying to type in more to the H1, and then it should be good. Okay, now whatever color you choose is up to you. I chose for my level 1 heading style, I chose Ghost White. Why did I choose Ghost White? Because Ghost White contrasts very well against dark blue. So this should show up. and I've written in my level 1 heading, Mr. Sal found some freaking awesome quotes. And I did. I think they're freaking awesome. Now, the quotes that you find will be different, of course, because you may find the ones that I found lame. And you're like, I found different quotes. That's what we want. Don't use the same quotes that I have, okay? We'll get to that. But now that I have this code in here, I'm ready to check it. So I click on save. And then I just go back to my web page. This is what it looks like. I click on reload, and it loads my level 1 heading. Mr. Sal found some freaking awesome quotes, which I did. And I'm going to put them in, okay? So that works. Again, if this did not show up, let's say by chance that this is what it showed me instead. Maybe it showed me something like this. More than that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not what I expected to see. Maybe it was all dark blue, okay? Then I know that my level 1 heading would have been jacked up, and then I would have to check the code. Mine is good, so I can keep it like this, and we can go back to the code and add more into the assignment. Now, what we need, because my level 1 heading is working, and it is ghost white, what I need is 5 total quotes. Now, for me, I'm going to use 5 paragraphs for this. It says that we're going to make 2 block quotes, which we'll worry about those later. All right? But for the 5 quotes, I'm going to have 2 quotes that are inside of a paragraph. So again, I'm going to give myself more than just this one paragraph. I'm going to need 5 total of them. 2 of them have to be quotes inside of a paragraph. 2 should be block quotes, which we'll get to, and then 1 is you can choose. Now, I chose the extra one that I get to choose. I just made it a quote that's inside of a paragraph. So that's what I chose. But to set this up, I said, look, I give myself 5 paragraphs. Now, nothing would show on my webpage because I haven't actually typed in anything into the paragraphs, which is okay. I'm going to write a paragraph with it's the Q element and then the NQ element. These are quotation marks when they show up on the webpage. So I just need them somewhere in the paragraph, but they should be an actual quote. So don't just make up stuff. Find a quote that you like online and then use that quote. This is my first quote from Alfie Kohn. And some of you guys are like, that's a long quote, Mr. Sal. It's not. I could find much longer quotes. All right? But inside of this paragraph, I have put in my own commentary about this quote. And Alfie Kohn had made this quote. I've started his quote with the Q element. And then I've ended his quote with the /Q element. All right? But everything in between the Q's is his own quote. Everything outside of it in the paragraph is me talking about the quote. All right? Are you going to use something from Alfie Kohn? You can, but just don't copy my paragraph and just copy that down, put it in your code. Write your own, all right? There's lots of quotes, and you can find something that you like. This is enough. Let's see how this works, okay? So, again, I would go back to save. I would go back to save over here, and then I can go back to my web page. Here's my web page. It's not showing the quote because I haven't reloaded the page. I click on reload. There's the quote. Now, some of you guys are like, yeah, but Sal, that's Mr. Sal. This paragraph is not contrasting against the background. That's because I haven't changed the color. I did not change the color. I did not put the code to change the color because I just want to make sure that it's going to show up first. Later on, I'm going to change the code. But in this web page, you can see the quotations. Well, maybe you can't see because it's kind of small projected. But there's one of the quotation marks. There's the other quotation mark. So there's our quotation marks. Remember, I did not put those quotation marks there. I put the Q element in there, and then it made it a quotation mark. And again, if we were to zoom out here, everything in between the quotation marks is an exact quote that I found from Alfie Kohn. So again, but you have your own commentary about the quote that you put into that paragraph. So here's our coding. I have this paragraph from the quote from Alfie Kohn. I'm going to put the other 2 paragraphs with the quotations inside the paragraph. I'm not doing a block quote yet, but I'm going to put these in at the same time. Again, I'm not going to change the color. I'm going to do that later so I'm separating the task into separate tasks, smaller tasks, so that if I do make a mistake, I can come back here and find where I've changed things, which shouldn't be that much. So again, here's a quote from Abraham Lincoln, and then I have one from Daniel Natal. So each of these paragraphs, though, again, I've highlighted this. I've got the Q element for Abraham Lincoln and the NQ, and then for Daniel Natal, open quotations, close quotations. So this is how it shows up in the code. When we look at the web page, the Q's are going to be quotation marks, just like it did for Alfie Kohn. So I come over here, I click on save, and then I go back to my web page. Again, if I click save, it'll take away this asterisk. If you see the asterisk, you have not saved it recently. Save it often. This is the way it looked. And again, this should add 2 more paragraphs for us. There we go. And again, I've highlighted the quotation marks, which are not, it's not showing Q, it's showing quotation marks as the Q's. Okay, so that's the coding in here. Once again, I'm not changing the colors yet. I just want to add 2 more block quotes. So coming back to our coding, I'm going to keep the P elements, the paragraph elements, so that I can enter introductory paragraphs for the block quotes. Block quotes are generally a lot longer than a just regular smaller quote that I have in the paragraphs. In addition to that, the stuff that I put in between my block quote elements is completely a quotation. So I don't put any information into my block quote. It's completely just a quote from someone. I will put my information or an introduction to the block quotes in my paragraphs. All right? But let's get those elements in there first. So there's the block quote elements after the paragraph. So I'm going to have a paragraph, and then separately I'm going to have a block quote. And then I've got my 5th paragraph with its separate block quote. Again, everything in between the block quotes is an exact quote as I found it. The block quotes, what it's going to do when we pull up the web page, it's going to indent whatever we put into the block quote. So whatever quote you find and put in there, it will be indented when we pull up the web page. The paragraphs, though, will be just like the ones we've seen already. It will not be indented. So again, that's how we're going to introduce the block quote. In addition to that, yeah, right here, the block quotes do not show quotation marks because it's so long, it deserves kind of its own paragraph, which is why we just put them in here completely as its own quote. So once again, I have this in here. I don't have to click save right now because it's not going to show anything. My paragraphs are empty, and so are my block quotes. But I can put some stuff in. There we go. Now you'll notice once again, I have not entered any colors for my paragraphs. We're going to get to that. But I have this first, my first paragraph is introducing this block quote, which I have from Woodrow Wilson. Now, if you don't know who Woodrow Wilson is, you need to learn your presidents because he is an important one. I'm not saying he's good. He did some things. In any case, this is a quote from Woodrow Wilson. I introduced it, and then I have a second block quote from, this is from, John Acton. So I have a paragraph introducing it, and then I have his actual quote, and I've even quoted him on this, right? So I've actually put his quotation, that he is being credited with this, which usually means I did not say John Acton is responsible for this quote, but which I didn't in the paragraph, which is why I put that he's the one that is responsible for the quote. Now again, is that a lot of typing? It's not, but some of you guys may be like, that's a lot of typing. Well, suck it up, okay? Because it's not. But I am ready now to save, so I'm going to click on save. That will get rid of the asterisk here. I go back to my web page. Again, it's not showing my block quotes or the introductory paragraphs, but if I push refresh or reload, it does. And again, even though this is kind of hard to see, this block quote is indented from the paragraph that introduces it. Same with this block quote. It is indented from this paragraph that introduces it. Okay, that's on purpose. If I see that your block quotes are not indented, you jacked it up. It's probably, the program probably thinks it's a paragraph, and then I know to take points off, okay? Now that we have all 5 paragraphs and all 5 quotes working, we're now ready to change the colors. Again, if something didn't work here, even if the indenting did not work, I would have to go back to my code and find out where I made a mistake. But these are good, so I'm ready to enter some colors. Again, you can refer back to that web page. Yeah, again, I've got my 3 quotes in the paragraphs, the 2 block quotes. That's 5 total quotes. That's enough for credit, but again, we got to change the colors for full credit. So, in each of the paragraphs, we're going to add some style, specifically color, and we've seen this already, this coding. So after each P element, I'm going to enter this code, and I'm going to find a color that I like to put in for these. I'm just going to start with the first 3, and then we'll get to this other stuff, okay? Because how you do the block quotes is going to be important in terms of credit. So again, we've seen this before. I chose colors. Right here, this is the stuff that I put in. For my first paragraph, I have a style equals quotes color, and then the colon. I chose spring green. When you're choosing colors, each quotation needs to be a different color, which I think I already said, but I'm emphasizing it. So you can see these 3 different colors. I got spring green for my first paragraph, dark turquoise for the second paragraph, and deep pink for the third paragraph. When I checked on that website, all 3 of these are lighter colors, which means they should be easy to see against the dark blue. So I have this code in here, style, color, with the quotations, colon, the color, semicolon, close quotes, okay? So let's see how we did. Again, I click on save. It will take away the asterisk. This is what my web page used to look like. I click on reload. Boom, there it is. Now, some of you guys are like, well, there were supposed to be 3 colors, right? Yeah, there it was. That means this one right here, this quote, this paragraph, was supposed to be dark, light pink, something pink, right? Deep pink, there we go. It's supposed to be deep pink. It is not deep pink, which means I jacked it up. So I got to go back and check. But again, did I put very much code in to change these 3 colors? I didn't. In addition to that, it's just this one paragraph that's jacked up. So when I look at the code, I only need to look here to see where I made my mistake. Now, since these 2 worked, I can also compare it against these 2. So let's take a closer look at these. We got this one that worked, and then in red, we got this one that did not work. So the one that worked, P style, that looks good, equals. And yes, it is character by character, so make sure you're checking each character, because if you don't, and you're like, Mr. Sal, I need help, I'm going to ask you, did you check character by character? Well, if you didn't, you need to, okay? Because it takes a long time to check this stuff, especially once we get a lot of coding in here, and I just don't have that much time to help everyone. So we got the equal signs, open quotes, color, oh, no color. So right here, we're missing the style of color. I put in a color, but I didn't say make the style a color. So right now, the code thinks you want style to be deep pink. Well, what style do you want to be deep pink? It's like, I don't know what to do here, Sal, Mr. Sal. And so I say, okay, well, let's go ahead and fix this. Let's look at here. I say quote, which I already had, color, colon. That's the part that I was missing. I put it in, and it looks pretty good, right? It looks very similar, at least, well, it looks exactly like these other ones, just with a different color. I click on save. That will make this asterisk go away, which we should expect. Here's what it looked like. I click on reload. There it is. So I have deep pink now as my 3rd paragraph. Now let's get into the block quotes. The block quotes, when you put in the code for the block quotes, yes, we do need colors for the block quotes. The block quotes should be the same color as its introductory paragraph, which is commentary that you put in there. And since this is a quote that you chose, you should be easily able to comment on this quote that you chose. So I'm going to start with the Woodrow Wilson introductory paragraph and then block quote. And it's the same coding. Style equals open quote, color, colon. I chose light green. Again, light green is different than dark pink, dark turquoise, deep pink, dark turquoise, and spring green, and ghost white, and dark blue. But light green also is a light color against the dark blue background. And I also put it as my block quote color. So these two colors are the same because they go together. This is a paragraph that I wrote about this block quote, so they should be the same color so people know that they go together. Now I'm just doing this. I'm going to do the next block quote here in a little bit, but I'm going to click on save just to see how the code goes. Again, the asterisk will go away. Here's my web page. I click reload. There it is. What was it? Spring green. And again, that's very easy to see against the dark blue background. So my code, I now need colors for my last block quote and its introductory paragraph that I have from John Acton. And there it is. Style equals quote color. This one I made yellow. But again, the block quote has to be the same color as its introductory paragraph, which I have done, yellow and yellow. And well, let's see how this code goes. So click on save, the asterisk goes away. This is what the page looks like. I click reload, yellow, still a different color, which is what we want. All 5 paragraphs and their accompanying block quotes are they're different colors, but the block quotes are the same as their introductory paragraphs. The level 1 heading is a different color, and then the background is a different color. And again, I've chosen light colors for the print than I did so that it shows up well against the background, which is dark blue. Now that was great, and that was really fun. Some of you guys like, Mr. Sal, that was awesome. I would like to do this a lot. Well, I mean, you can do the web dev class, which is going to make web pages and stuff. And we do like 100 lines. And as fun as that was, this is not done. So if you turn this in like this, you still get a lot of the credit, but you're missing something. We need a border. Now, border code is pretty easy. We want a border for the body, and you can put borders in here as well, but we're just concerned about the body. Remember the semicolon says, if you want to add more style to the body or more stuff to the body, you can. So this case, we're going to add a border. You get to choose it's px is pixels. That's the thickness of the border. I'm going to choose 5 pixels, but you can go as high as 10. So somewhere between 5 and 10. You get to choose. We want a solid border, and you can do dashed or dotted or something like that. But we're going to make ours solid, and then we're going to choose a color for it. Okay, so if we enter this code, it should give us a border for the body of our web page. So again, I chose 5 pixels thick. You can choose up to 10 pixels thick if you'd like. Solid is the one that we want. I chose sandy brown. Again, the border is still a different color than the others. And again, that's a lighter brown, so it will show up well against the dark blue background. I click on save. I open up my web page. I click reload. There's my border right there. Well, this is enough to get you full credit. But Mr. Sal thinks that was so easy, we need to do even more. Just you don't have to do it for full credit, okay? So technically, you could be done here, and you could submit this, and you would get full credit. But we've learned this already. I said, you know what? I want this centered. It's not that you have to center it. I just want it centered because it's going to make me feel good inside. And I will be satisfied with a good day's work in CCA class. All right? Now, some of you guys are like, I'm satisfied right there. Again, you don't have to do this part. But I want this centered. And since we've learned how to center stuff, I'm going to enter the center elements before the text for the level 1 heading and then right after it. Okay, that says, hey, just program, center this stuff. That's all I want. I just want you to center this stuff, not anything else. If you miss this ending center element, then again, it would pretty much center everything else. So just by doing this, it could jack up the rest of your code if you do it wrong. So be careful. So I enter those in. There's my center element. There's the end center element. Again, that's just saying, hey, please center just this stuff. That's all I want you to center. And I click on save, I click reload, and then it opens this up centered right here, okay? Well, I feel much better now. I feel like I've gone the extra mile, and I made this look much better because it's not, this level 1 heading is not lined up with the other paragraphs. It's centered, so people know, yeah, these are some freaking awesome quotes right here. So that's it. That's it. Once you finish this, make sure it shows like this, or, the level 1 heading doesn't have to be centered. Once you finish, go into Canvas, click on the rocket ship, find your file in your Google Drive, and get it submitted. And well, I probably won't be able to grade these till next week, so. But that's it. Again, if you followed along, you should have this done, and should be good to go. These paragraphs that I wrote, they're not that long, but some guys are like, that's too long, Mr. Sell. It's not. Here's what we should not see, because this is garbage, right? These are paragraphs that I put in here. Now, are all of them 4 sentences? No. But, they should be at least 4 sentences. What we don't want to see is a paragraph, this awesome quote, and then give the quote. Like 3 words. That's all you can muster for a quote that you found and that you put in the assignment. All right? So make sure when you write your own commentary on the quote, it's a quote that you like enough that you can write something about it. Not just, it's awesome, I love it, I found this one, just, it should be, I don't know, at least look like you tried. So make sure you're writing plenty in these about the quotes that you choose.